Federal government refutes claims of religious genocide in Nigeria, describes them as false, baseless and divisive. Nigeria secures African Development Bank funding to expand agro-industrial processing zones.
By 2050, we'll surpass the United States, will be the third most populous nation on earth. So that goes to show the potential of the Nigerian nation.
And train services along the Abuja-Kaduna corridor resume. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. We're live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. The federal government has strongly condemned and categorically refutes recent allegations by certain international platforms and online influencers, suggesting that terrorists operating in Nigeria are engaged in a systematic genocide against Christians, describing such claims as false, baseless, despicable and divisive. In a statement by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, it says that portraying Nigeria's security challenges as a targeted campaign against a single religious group is a gross misrepresentation of reality and amounts to oversimplifying a complex, multifaceted security environment and playing into the hands of terrorists and criminals who seek to divide Nigerians along religious or ethnic lines. The violent activities of terrorist groups are not confined to any particular religion or ethnic community. These criminals target all who reject their murderous ideology, regardless of faith. Muslims, Christians, and even those who do not identify with any religion have suffered at their hands. The federal government, he says, remains unwavering in its commitment to completely degrading terrorist groups and securing the lives and property of all citizens. And this resolve is already yielding results. Between May 2023 and February 2025 alone, over 13,543 terrorists and criminals were killed and nearly 10,000 hostages rescued in multiple military operations across the country. Only last month, the top leadership of Jama'atu Ansarul Muslimina fi Biladis Sudan, commonly known as Ansaru, Nigeria's Al-Qaeda affiliate, was captured in a well-coordinated counter-terrorism operation. In the fight against terrorism, Nigeria has made significant strides in prosecuting Boko Haram suspects. To date, the country has successfully prosecuted 7 batches of suspects, securing over 700 convictions, and is currently moving into the 8th prosecution cycle, further demonstrating the resolve to tackle terrorism and its sponsors. Activities commemorating Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary have commenced in Abuja with a special prayer for the nation. President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, reassured citizens that there is steady move towards desired developments, emphasizing the need for collective efforts to achieve a better Nigeria.
Nigeria should celebrate our togetherness 65 years after. Nigeria should celebrate the strength that we are regaining. Nigeria should celebrate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at 65, who has decided to bring reforms into this country, and the reforms are yielding fruits. Therefore, for our students, it doesn't mean you have to be born with wealth and privilege before you have access to quality education at a tertiary level. You have access to that. 6 countries of African countries have already visited Nigeria to understudy the system.
Now we're into building, President is working hard. Everybody's putting us together. Nigerians are understanding that it's not easy, we know it's difficult for everybody, but that we're all victims and that together we'll succeed.
Well, apologies for the slightly poor audio in that report. Now, the federal government has secured enhanced funding commitments from the African Development Bank, AFDB, to operationalize the second phase of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones. Vice President Kashim Shettima had made the request in New York during a bilateral meeting with AFDB's president, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, on the sidelines of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
The Special Agro-Processing Zone Phase 2 expected to scale up climate-resilient infrastructure and inclusive agro-industrial growth across an additional 24 states, expanding from initial 8 states and the FCT, aimed at diversifying Nigeria's mono-product economy to value-added agricultural exports.
The bank's support for innovation-driven enterprises.
Justifying the country's request, Vice President Kashim Shettima said Nigeria is the largest shareholder in Africa Development Bank, and its portfolio hovers in the neighborhood of $10 billion.
Our dream is to make tomorrow much better than today for our youth. We have no business being in business. The government has no business being in business. Our duty is to create the enabling environment, the infrastructure. The duty of the private sector is to provide the capital, the innovations, and the market linkages. And our youth, who constitute the bulk of our population. It might interest you, Your Excellency, to know that the average age of the Nigerian nation is 16.9. And by 2050, we'll surpass the United States, will be the third most populous nation on earth. So that goes to show the potentials of the Nigerian nation and the need for us to really act very fast.
We need to work with, I am planning to have a series of consultations with banks and the DFIs and guarantee funds to make sure that we will work as a coherent system of financial institution contributing together to delivering on the mandate of the African Development Bank.
AFDB's president assured that under his leadership, the bank will spare no effort to provide Nigeria with the support it deserves in terms of developing its human capital. Earlier, Vice President Kashim Shettima held a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, where they recommitted to strengthening economic and cultural ties.
Going forward, we should have a robust engagement and understanding. We should stand by each other, we should stand for one another, we should stand on each other's interests.
We think that this kind of communication and easy access to both countries can actually help significantly with the movement of people, which we already have, and can help to further trade between the countries.
He further recalled that President Tinubu was in St. Lucia earlier in the year as part of his broader package of reaching out to Caribbean Africans in the diaspora. The Prime Minister decried the low level of trade and contact between Caribbean countries and Africa, expressed the country's readiness to work closely with Nigeria to boost trade on the African continent. From New York, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
And Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed New York, United States, after successfully representing President Bola Tinubu at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. During his participation at UNGA 80, Shettima secured UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' recommendation for Nigeria's bid for a permanent UN Security Council seat. He also showcased Nigeria's $200 billion energy transition opportunity to global investors and strengthened strategic partnerships with the UK on trade, defense and migration issues. The Vice President delivered President Tinubu's national statement calling for UN reforms and a permanent seat for Nigeria at the UN Security Council, even as he demanded Africa's control over its $700 billion mineral wealth and digital inclusion initiatives. He also engaged with the Gates Foundation on healthcare and education expansion, positioning Nigeria as the natural hub for the African Continental Free Trade Area, $3.4 trillion market. So other news now, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has successfully thwarted an attempt by suspected suppliers of illicit drugs to terrorists and bandits in Borno and Yobe states. The operatives of the NDLEA discovered and seized illicit drugs concealed in the engine compartment of a Mercedes-Benz Jeep and the lady's traveling bag. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports.
In a significant bust, 2 drug kingpins who posed as successful businessmen were arrested after a month of intelligence gathering. They were found with 4.33 kilograms of heroin, 448 grams of cocaine and 2.902 kilograms of methamphetamine prepared for export to Europe and beyond. And from Borno State, NDLEA officers arrested a 26-year-old man at Jimtilo village while he was driving a Mercedes-Benz GLK with 39,380 pills of tramadol, 225 milligrams and Exol 5 concealed in the engine compartment of his car. Similarly, in Yobe State, operatives intercepted a lady along Damaturu Maiduguri Road with 39 parcels of Colorado concealed in her traveling bag. While in Ekiti State, NDLEA officers arrested a 45-year-old ex-convict at his Ikere Ekiti home with 32 kilograms of skunk and 10.5 grams of tramadol. He had previously served a 3-year sentence for drug trafficking in 2016. These successful operations demonstrate NDLEA's commitment to protecting Nigerians from the threats of illicit substances and safeguarding public health and national security. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
The Nigerian Immigration Service has reiterated commitment to safeguarding national security through strengthened border surveillance. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo made this known in a message delivered at the passing out ceremony of participants of the 50th basic course at the Nigeria Immigration Service Training School in Kano. Aminu Umar reports. We'll get that report to you subsequently. This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. More reports in a moment. Stay with us.
Feel the power of precision, engineered to perfection. Every component is crafted with care, and each design is meticulously tested. From concept to creation, our engineers push the boundaries of technology, seamlessly blend in performance and sustainability with a deep commitment to African ingenuity. Introducing the CNG Boss, a remarkable achievement in engineering designed to operate on compressed natural gas, a cleaner and more sustainable fuel alternative. At Innocent Vehicles, we proudly lead the way in creating greener mobility across Africa. And it doesn't stop there. From SUVs to sedans, spacious buses to electric cars, Innocent offers a wide range of models designed to meet every need. Innocent Vehicle, the pride of African roads.
This is NTA News 24.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's now take Aminu Umar's report on the Nigerian Immigration Service's commitment to safeguarding national security through strengthened border surveillance.
The reviewing officer representing the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, joined the Controller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service, Kemi Nenanandap, to inspect the parade by participants of the 50th basic course. In high spirits, the graduates demonstrated readiness to take on the task of securing Nigeria's borders, a responsibility the minister says demands well-trained and disciplined personnel.
Managing our borders, regulating migration and preventing transnational crimes are a responsibility that demands not only strength and skill, but also wisdom, integrity and compassion.
The Controller General, Nigeria Immigration Service, Kemi Nenanandap, who commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his reform-driven leadership that has transformed the service, urged the new officers to regard their calling as a trust reposed in them.
We must continually excel in ICT-driven operations, delivering effective border governance and migration management.
Today, these cadets step forward as professionals, ready to a legacy of excellence and integrity.
In a message, Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf applauded the Controller General's transformational leadership and called on the officers to apply their training towards supporting the nation in tackling contemporary security challenges. In Kano, Amin Umar, NTA News.
Talking health now, 28th September every year is celebrated as World Rabies Day to raise awareness about rabies prevention and control. The theme for this year's celebration is Act Now, You, Me, Community, emphasizes the importance of collective action in eliminating this deadly disease. Rabies is a deadly disease that claims thousands of lives worldwide each year, with most cases occurring in Africa. This is why the Nigerian government, through the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, has declared an all-out war on rabies and pledges to eliminate the disease by 2030.
The time to act is now. Delaying means more lives lost. Lives of our children, farmers, friends, colleagues, and loved ones. The theme, Act Now. The theme urges us, act now. Let us commit to vaccinating every dog, educating every household member, and supporting every victim. Government alone cannot win this battle. It requires you, and you.
In the meantime, autism remains widely misunderstood, leaving many families to cope in silence. A new summit is challenging this, putting inclusion and hope at the center. Victor Azu reports.
For Happy Rubere, raising an autistic child is both a joy and a struggle. What hurts most, he says, is not the condition itself, but the way society responds.
I've taken my child around a couple of times, and it's really sad that there's no one to report to when your child is not being treated fairly. It's really difficult to get people to accept that your child is different. Everyone feels that it needs to be fixed.
For families like the Ruberes, acceptance would mean hope. Campaigners say progress will only be real when children like his are part of everyday life.
People run away from them. So people say, I'm going to contract this disease. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want my child to talk to this particular child because it's this, is that. So how do we continue to make parents feel comfortable that it is not a, communicable disease?
Progress for me would see a lot of healthcare being subsidized and, create funding for parents, for families that have kids on the spectrum. Progress for me would be seeing the end of stigma.
The summit, themed Beyond the Label, featured breakout sessions on education, healthcare and advocacy, plus an exhibition and auction of artworks by autistic children. A reminder that inclusion begins when society sees talent before diagnosis. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
In other news, the Nigerian Railway Corporation has announced the resumption of train services along the Abuja-Kaduna corridor this week. A statement signed by Callistus Unyimadu, the NRC's Chief Public Relations Officer, indicates that train services will resume on Wednesday, 1st October 2025, following the completion of repairs and safety checks on the affected section of the track at Asham Station. The NRC assures that it prioritizes passenger safety and comfort and regrets the inconvenience caused by the suspension of train services due to the derailment incident. The statement adds that the NRC has refunded ticket fees to 15 to 512 out of 583 passengers who were on board the affected train on August 26, 2025. This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Here's a recap of our top stories. Federal government refutes claims of religious genocide in Nigeria, describes them as false, baseless and divisive. Nigeria secures African Development Bank funding to expand agro-industrial processing zones.
By 2050, we'll surpass the United States, will be the third most populous nation on earth. So that goes to show the potential of the Nigerian nation.
And train services along Abuja-Kaduna corridor set to resume. The National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers wants the federal government to urgently intervene in the disputes between Dangote Group and staff of its refinery. The union, which has directed its members to down tools effective Sunday, 28th September, over the alleged sacking of about 800 staff of the company over disagreements on operations of the workers' union and their replacements with 2,000 Indian workers, says the action is against the Nigeria Labour Law and International Labour Organization conventions. This decision was reached after Pengason's emergency NEC meeting held on Saturday, 27th September. Meanwhile, the federal government has appealed to the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengason, to suspend its planned strike scheduled for September 29th over disputes with the Dangote refinery. A statement by the head of Information and Public Relations of the ministry, Patience Onuobia, notes that the Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Megadi Dingyadi, said on Sunday that the ministry has invited both the Pengason leadership and Dangote refinery management to an emergency meeting in his office for reconciliation, urging the union to withdraw its strike notice to allow for a peaceful resolution. Now, to bridge the gap between theory and practice, as well as equipping students with the needed skills in research, Departments of Mass Communications, National State University, KEFI, has engaged postgraduate students on a two-day research workshop. Blessing Danfulani reports.
The workshop is aimed at strengthening research capacities of postgraduate students and equip them with the skills to excel in a fast-evolving world of communication and media studies. Facilitators at the event, mostly whom are media experts from within and outside Nasarawa State University, say exposing students with trends and media and research tools is key.
Given what is happening today globally, there are new trends in research, there are new innovations. So given that reason, we deem it fit to organize the workshop.
Taking them through the practical aspect, bringing experts who use tools to demonstrate what they should know.
Nasarawa State University is primed with their vision of ensuring that the postgraduate students align with global practice.
We discovered that for our postgraduate students to actually, measure up in terms of high standards in research, we need to really engage them.
Participants describe the two-day engagement as impactful.
We know how we can navigate and use those tools. So we've learned a lot.
I have learned a lot pertaining research.
We have been able to learn the basic techniques.
Our facilitators actually made very impactful.
Theme of the workshop is Igniting Research Excellence, New Trends and Frontiers in Communication and Media Studies. Blessing Danfulani, NTA News.
The federal government expresses deep sorrow over the passing of a senior diplomat, Ambassador Stephen Ojo Ogidan, on Saturday, 27th September 2025. A spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebi Ebiemfia, informed that Ambassador Ogidan was the director of the West African Affairs Division in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. An exceptional Foreign Service officer with over 3 decades of service, Ambassador Ogidan was a key figure in shaping Nigeria's diplomatic relations within the West African sub-region. Before his recent role, he served Nigeria in various capacities, including postings to the country's missions in Cameroon and Togo. The federal government extends condolences to his family and the people of Edo State, describing his passing as a significant loss to the nation's diplomatic corps. And that concludes the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Thank you for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.